When I was a kid, people butchered my name. How many people's names get butchered in here? I mean, they butcher your name. They say it gets so crazy, you just say, just call me anything, right? You don't want, but when I got older, I started saying, after a while you say, it don't matter, say what you want to say. But when I became an adult, I began to think about it. I said, you know what? I want people to say my name the right way, right? Don't you want people to say your name the right way? It's hard, and you have to understand the alphabet and the pronunciation of alphabets are different, right? And it's difficult for people to say those kinds of names. The interesting part of it, and this goes into the book, is whether they're committed to say your name properly, whether they care enough to say your name properly, right? Because your name is a part of who you are, and it also speaks volumes of your culture, right? You agree with that? Yeah, it speaks volumes of your culture. So it's important for, my first daughter's name was Amandla, right? It is from South Africa, it's Amandla, but her friends and her teacher used to call her Amanda. And after a while, she, got cool with it, and I said, your name is not Amanda. Your name is Amandla, because it means something, right? Amanda is somebody else's name, right? So she said that when you become an American, you lose some of the sacrifice that you make. You lose, and these are some of the things that were pointed out in the book. You lose a little bit of who you are culturally to become an American, right? You lose a little bit of that. Would you agree with that? What do you think you lose, and do you think that's a negative thing or what? Or a positive thing?
I feel like it depends on the person, but for me, I lost my language because you tend to want to simulate, and as you said, changing of the accent, right? So you tend not to speak your tribal language. Like for me, Ga, I started to forget some words. I could not relate to my parents as much anymore because I was losing that language. But then again, let's say I give birth to another, my child, I can't pass on that language. There's a loss of generational heritage there. That's what I lost.
That's huge.
So you lose, like she said, you lose your language, you lose a part of yourself because you're trying to protect this identity that you didn't have before, that you're trying to build up, just like you're trying to build up your new life here to come back. And it's like there's certain parts of yourself that you're never going to get back because there's certain words that just in your culture and here don't translate to the same thing. It's the same thing as a person. Some stuff you lose, like my sister knows nothing about Hispanic culture compared to my older siblings. And it's that transition that was kind of lost in translation. She doesn't know what we know because she was born here, she doesn't care.
Right, and each generation loses a little more. Right?
Sorry, when some teenagers come here, they tend to lose their accent. Sometimes when I talk to my dad in Nigeria, he's always like, Twanet, you have lost your accent. I'm like, I don't know how, it just happened. So most of the time I try as much as possible to talk in my accent, because I don't want to lose that accent. I value that accent so much. I never knew it was such a good thing for me to have a Nigerian accent, but when I came here and I saw some black people not even knowing where they come from, and you ask a black person, where are you from? They say, I'm from New Jersey, I'm from Newark, I'm from Florida, and I'm like, excuse me? That's everything, basically.
Yeah.
And it's really, really negative for the fact that some kids will not be able to identify or experience what it means to be African, truly African.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead.
Most definitely, being Nigerian comes with the flex, and I also agree with what she said. Personally, what I lost was my childhood. They say your childhood, you preserve your childhood through memories. And the place where my memories was, the place where I can actually derive my memories from, I'm not there. So in Nigeria, right, I'm Nigerian, whatever. In Nigeria, we travel over to my grandmother's place every Christmas, and she's bent on me understanding my native language, and we cook Nigerian food and everything. But every Christmas right now, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? We're trying to preserve it. We're trying to continue that custom of actually cooking Nigerian food, but it's not the same, because we are not there. So I think moving from Nigeria or wherever to America, you lose your childhood, you also lose your memories. And as time goes by, your memories go together with it. Yeah.
The memory and language is deep. I got you. Go ahead, this brother right here.
Basically, I feel like America forces you to lose your culture in order to succeed in this country. Because when you do like a college application, it has Black American and African American. And for me, honestly, I feel like I'm a Black American because when I look back at my history dates back to my great-grandfather being a slave or my great-grandmother being a slave.
Right.
So like I don't really know anything from my history in Africa because I don't know where I start from.
That's right.
But I feel like if you're an African American and you're coming to this country, you may know your grandmother or great-grandmother that was in Africa. So I just feel like we're both the same color, but it's a disconnect in the culture.
Absolutely.
And I feel like in order to be successful in America, you just have to lose a part of your culture in order to succeed.
Nice. So keep the mic. Do you think that's is that okay? You think that's a good thing, or is it necessary, or?
Honestly, I don't think it's a good thing because we all look alike, but we're disconnected in some way. Like there may be some dislike. A Black American may make fun of an African because they're African booty scratcher, or an African parent, they might not like the Black American because they see that kid as too American. So it's just, it causes a disconnect when we need to be united.
But the part, that's true, the part about the country forcing you to lose some of who you are in order to be successful, what do you think about that?
I think that's true as well because dating back to the slaves, they would force them to learn Christianity and let go of their religion to fit the American way.
Okay. You next. There was somebody over here, but go ahead. Yeah, you go.
I personally am not Nigerian, I'm Togolese, but I came here when I was really young, and when she was talking about losing memories and trying to preserve them, when I go back to Togo, I don't remember anyone, and they're in my family, and I don't even know their name, and they're like, you don't remember me? And I feel kind of hurt, and bad for myself. I'm just like, wow, I don't even know my aunt's name, or I never, spoken to her. It's like, when she was talking about the disconnect, I really felt that, especially when it came with, me and my culture.
How many people in here have that? You go back home and you don't know people no more, and you don't, they be like, you don't remember me when you was 5, you did this? You be like, no. No. Go ahead.
Another thing I feel as teenagers and children we lose when we come to America is our manners.
Your who?
Our manners.
Okay.
Respect.
Manners.
Yeah.
That's what the young lady said back there. I'm not gonna repeat the words she said, but she said, I don't know why people talk to each other this way. But we do that.
Okay. Because most times while in school we see our fellow teenagers and cursing out the teachers and saying all sort of rubbish they want to say.
You get a beat.
Myself and my friends would just be like, oh, I wish this kid can just school in Nigeria for just a day. For just a day. And not to talk about the phone issues. You be in class and you playing music aloud. Who's gonna allow you to take phones to school in Nigeria? Not to talk of, if you say A when your teacher is teaching and she says, keep quiet, and they should hear just a pin drop, you're in trouble. So the rate of the respect and the manners, it's high. But here, it's people like teenagers don't even regard the parents. They see the parents as their mates, like they just cuss them out and say all sort of whatever that they want to say because they feel, oh, everybody has same right. So they don't need to like show that respect, that they don't deserve nothing from them. So I think that's one thing we lose as teenagers and kids.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria. I came here in 2009. So, like, I remember, like, when I was younger in my country, like, so many memories, like, and I totally relate to the book, how it disconnects you. And, like, over here is a whole, like, another country, a whole another world. And at the same time, I feel like, and you were asking people, is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing and also a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's new opportunities, it's change. So it's really good because you could, like culture, you bring it with you, is within you. So you could always go back and reconnect. Like, so it's been like 10 years since I left my country and I decided to live here in America. So sometimes I often go back there, like see my family over there, but I also have a family here too.
Right.
Like my parents, like I have an accent too. Like I relate to the book too, like how she goes to the salon and she has to go to a special salon. Like I go to the Dominican salon sometimes, but sometimes I decide to just let my hair rock, let it be curly and embrace who I am.
If you haven't read this book, you should read it, and you should get deeper into it. We talked about a lot of things, a lot more stuff talked about, and we touched on a lot of stuff on the surface. I think a lot of these issues around race, around class, we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit about class here, people who are financially better off. I think people assume that when you're American, you automatically have more money simply by virtue of the fact that you're American. They don't know it's 5 of y'all in one bedroom apartment. Right? By virtue of the fact they think you've been to America, they're automatically somebody passing out money. And you know that's not real. And you like to go back to your country pretending that too. Yeah. Pretending that you are rich and you know doggone well you're not. But we didn't get a chance to talk about class or the kind of cultural differences. And these are conversations that adults are usually afraid to have, difficult to have. These are difficult conversations. My name is Baraka. In 1970, 80, when I was in high school, elementary school and high school, that is my name. People made fun of me because of my name, right? Baraka. My name is Raj Jua Alaziz Baraka, right? My father gave me all of these names that when I was a kid, I didn't like because it brought me ire, like you talked about, right? But now I love it. I love the fact that that's my name. Right? And I love what it means, and I love to embrace that. And so I think what Americanah is trying to point out to us really is to love who you are, embrace it, find out those things about you that are different, because you were born different on purpose. You weren't born different because you was better. You was born different because you're different. And we all become better once we learn each other's differences, right? That's really what she's pointing out, and pointing out how hatred and racism and the kind of white supremacy that exists in America that tries to make everybody believe that if you're not one way, there's something wrong with you. And what I love about this book is that it points out that if there's only something wrong with you when you try to pretend that you're something that you're not, right? And it's okay. Even the mistakes and the errors that you have are beautiful because God gave them to you. So thank you all for coming out and being a part of this. Yeah.
Okay.